maybe I'll do it like this, and then yeah, so it's not so bright. I don't know if y'all mind that. Okay, so now this story here, this was about, and you read the title correctly. Almost unalived over a CD. Some dude must have got our phone number and wanted some. They wanted some CDs, or they wanted, and the dude, because a lot of times, like what the fiends would do is they sell people blank stuff sometimes, that they get, we would never do that, and so like, but dudes still feel like they paying some bread, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, this thing that we have been doing, they had been doing that was stuff in New York they did decades ago, right? So what we ended up doing was we had mixtapes, and we had all this kind of, that was my whole thing, is the mixtapes. That was my main, mixtape thing. That's what I like, the mixtapes. But we the brand, some brands didn't work right in people's stuff, because people might have had some janky ass CD player or like a boombox or whatever, and it specifically didn't work in a lot of cars that had the CD players that were already installed, as opposed to like Pioneers. And Pioneers, Kenwood's Pioneers, they play everything, and they used to play MP3 CDs. So that was another thing that I used to put, like, MP3s. So what this guy did was he must have we came to his building, and that was not too far from Franklin. That's why I didn't really like messing with the Franklin area. I didn't really like messing with the 20s. I'm gonna be honest. I just didn't. I didn't like dealing with Franklin and the 20s and stuff. I really didn't like dealing with females to stay over there too much, to be quite honest. That was just me. That just wasn't my thing. That whole neighborhood to me was just, I just didn't like it. There wasn't really too many places to eat off. At least in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, you got going towards Ricksfield and stuff like that. People are starting to have a little more money. You're going towards Edina. You're on Lake Street. There's money on Lake Street. Don't ever let nobody tell you there ain't no money on Lake Street. There's money on Lake Street. So these buildings were like kind of by downtown. I think it was like Elliott, or I don't know where it was at, but I could probably pull up a map, and then I'll put that somewhere. So when I edit this, so the dude had, I don't know, we probably bought like $40 worth of CDs to us, and 35 or whatever the case may be. So now he calls back after we leave the building. We're not too far away. And he says, "These don't play, bro." And none of them did. Now, I checked them before, you know what I'm saying, before I even brought them to him. I always check them, and I could listen to them. I just pop them in. This dude says none of them play. And I said, all right, let me come get them and bring them back, or if you want your bread back or whatever, So now I'll edit that out. I'll try to edit that out. So now what he tried to do, let's turn this down a little bit. Just a little bit. All right. So look, what he tried to do, he said something like, "Oh no, that's okay. That's good. We ain't I ain't tripping. I'm gonna do something, or I'm gonna catch you slipping. I'm something of the nature of, I'm gonna do something to you, or don't worry about it." I said, "No, but before he said, don't worry about it. I ain't tripping." And I said, "Well, no, man, we'll take care of you, man. See, folks be trying to play folks or do something like that. Folks be trying to sell people bogus stuff, this, that, and the third. Yeah, I ain't going for that no more." Somebody else must have did it to him before, and it was probably some crackheads. But we're not crackheads, and we're not the same. I actually kind of know some things. So now I'm thinking, in my head, I'm thinking, once again, You out here amongst this kind of environment. So now you can't really be mad at these kind of characters. A lot of these dudes that you running across ain't that bright. They're like him. You see what I'm saying? And I ran into a lot of other people like that too. Even when I was just strictly fixing computers for them and doing all that. So now the conversation gets more tenser over the phone. He's talking like, oh well, I'm gonna do something. Or I'm gonna catch you. Don't worry. When I catch y'all, it's about to be over with, or it's about to be something like that. And I'm like, what you mean? I said what I said. When I catch y'all, I'm gonna do this, that, or something like that. I said, oh, okay, all right, bet. Now, this is what I'm trying to tell y'all. This is where stuff could go left. This is stuff will go left. This is over a CD. This now it's not about the CD anymore. This is principle now, because this is like no different than a dude like bumping you or stepping on your shoes or something like that, and then you hey man, you gonna say excuse me or whatever. Man, no, I ain't gonna say excuse me. You should have moved out my way. And then it escalates from there, and you're like, okay, this dude, something's up with this guy. So I knew something was wrong right off the rip. So I said, okay, if I'm trying to rectify the situation and you steady, and then you just go straight to threatening, but he wasn't talking like it was I'm gonna beat y'all up or something like that, because that wasn't gonna happen. He wasn't gonna beat us up. You see what I'm saying? He definitely wasn't gonna beat me up. And then maybe because he seen my buddy, and my buddy wasn't a small guy, maybe he figured that, well, I can't beat these guys up. He wouldn't have been able to beat me up, no way. But he probably figured, well, and it was an older dude, and he probably got out of prison or so, I don't know, but it was an older dude, and he was like an older knucklehead, like one of them old stupid niggas. So he probably figured, well, these some young dudes, so if I say this or I threaten them or whatever, I know what they gonna do, or I'm talking crazy, so ain't no telling what they do or whatever. I don't know what he was thinking. All I knew is, well, now, man, you done. We feel like you. So now, when I hang up the phone, I'm telling my buddy what's going on. Well, he's kind of there, so he's like, man, we might have to do something to him, bro. You see what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah. That might have, that's what I was thinking at the time. And we're young. We're very young. We're not really, our brain is still kind of, I don't know how old we were. We was, I don't even think I had an apartment yet, but our brain might even still been developing or whatever. But that might have been, it was definitely not 05. So this was before Lil Ant got unalived on, over South. So this I think this had to have been before that. I don't know when, but I think it was before that. So, and see, that's what I'm saying. When this happened to my homie's brother, these things, all these stuff, this kind of stuff, at some point you kind of like, okay, man, I don't want to deal with this shit no more. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna have to do something else. I'm gonna have to get me a car and get me a job and get me, you just get, because the stuff you just keep dealing with, and then people don't want to short you, and then they owe you and all this kind of stuff, so you just get tired of it. You get tired of dealing with the street and the street mentality and the people where I'm starting to think like, well, I shouldn't really even be doing this in the first place. That's what I started kind of thinking over time. When things used to happen, because it'd be some crazy situations, some things that happen and that happened to me, or things that I witnessed where I'm like, well, if I wouldn't have been here in the first damn place, I wouldn't have to deal with none of this. But that's what I signed up for. That's what I agreed to do. I'm out here on nobody forced me to do this. So now my guy's like, hey, look, I know where you could get, I know somebody with a hard off pump. Oh, really? Let me go get that. That's the kind of mentality, because this dude, he done already said what he's gonna do. He's already said, I'm gonna catch y'all, I'm gonna catch y'all. So you're not trying to catch us to square up. So because at one point I was thinking about, like when he said that, I was thinking about, let me go back to the building and call him and tell him to come downstairs. Now that would have been kind of stupid because he could have came downstairs with a weapon or whatever. But he didn't think that we were going to be around. He probably thought that he was going to say that and we was just going to skedaddle. I said, bro, can you get that? Are you for sure you could get that? He said, man, I might be able to. I said, man, and I had a backpack. So I said, I was dead ass. We was about to head back south and go get that. That was the only time that I came close to that kind of mentality. I couldn't believe it. But I said, I'm not gonna let you just do me bad like that. This is like the first time I really talked about this stuff. I ain't really talked to nobody, but I never forgot that. I was like, man, this dude's gonna do this over. He's gonna say those things over. So I said, okay. I wasn't thinking like, oh, well, I'm just gonna go home. I said, man, make that phone call. Let's go get that. And I probably wouldn't have been on the phone. I probably wouldn't have been talking to y'all right now because, I'm not exactly sure how. But then, and here's what eventually happened. Dude calls us back about 2 hours later. Man, bro, man. He with the man. And at that time I was like, man, you done threatened us. Man, no, listen, man. Listen. Man, they all play. And so I started thinking, man, is this dude on drugs or something like that? So I'm telling my homie, I'm like, man, I'm still kind of, because see, now I'm thinking, if I'm dealing with, because you got to think, we out there dealing with hustlers, dealers, even prostitutes probably buying CDs from us. Members, we're out there dealing with these folks on a regular basis. And I'm like, if I got to deal with this again, I might need that shit. So if somebody says, and so that's why I start to kind of think, I'm like, okay, this is not going to work. This ain't going to work. At some point in time, I said, okay, this being out here doing all this ain't gonna work. I need to get a store, or I need to get a job and then maybe get a store in a retail or something like that, open up a commercial lease, because I'm putting myself out here. Nobody's forcing me to do this. I'm putting myself out here on a regular basis, dealing with niggas like this. So I can't complain about it. So I start thinking, like, do I need to have some fire on me everywhere I go? In case I deal with a nigga like this that threatens me or something. But see, here's the thing. You already bogus. See, that's the mentality. We already bogus. You street hustlers. So we already out of pocket in the eyes of the law or anybody else, the regular 9 to 5. So if you do anything in regards to being out, okay, well, what do you do, sir? Well, I'm not working 9 to 5. I don't have a bachelor's degree in career. Okay, well, yeah, you got this weapon and this is what you did. There will be no mercy. There will be no mercy and there will be no clemency. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times when things used to happen, sometimes I get shrugged off and be like, well, you got to charge that to the game. You see what I'm saying? That's how I kind of looked at that. You got to charge that to the game. Even if we would have got robbed, you think I would have went to the law? I didn't believe in that. I did not believe in that. No. We didn't believe in that. And there was nobody that really told me, well, you shouldn't tell or you shouldn't go to. I never believed in that. I despised that shit. And I wasn't into the gang thing but I despised that Judas stuff. I despised it. I don't go to the law. Tell the police, man, well, they robbed me from my mixtapes and they took my wallet. No. We don't play that. Oh no. I never believed in that. That would have been my last. No. No, that's the last thing I do. I'm not doing that. Now you go to them and tell them what? That you was out here hustling? You was out here hustling. Something you probably ain't supposed to be doing in the first place. We ain't paying no taxes. See, that's the thing. That's really what the issue is. You ain't paying taxes. So you can't really go out there and say, I mean, we could have got like a peddler's license and had our socks and stuff like that. But but here's the thing. You are not a 9-to-5 worker, so you're not protected. You're not a civilian. That's how the world and society would have looked at this. You see what I'm saying? So I knew that even when I was hanging around certain people, some of my homies and stuff, going to the law or speaking to the law is completely out of, no, you don't do that. I knew that. They didn't have to tell me that. So like when, and I won't go into like real detail, but when I had a close homie, every time he gets knocked, I had a close homie, his guy, every time he gets pulled over, he looked like him. Every time he gets pulled over, he gives him his name. Because maybe he didn't have no license or whatever. He don't give him his own name. He gives him my homie's name. I told my guy, I said, bro, he's a rat. Now, he didn't necessarily tell on anybody. Well, later, but he didn't tell on anybody, but he's a rat. I told him years ago, I said, bro, you gotta watch this nigga. I said, because he shouldn't be, when he gets pulled over, he shouldn't be saying, well, man, that's my cousin or whatever, just because y'all favor. He should not be using your name just because you got a license. He should be getting his own license. My spidey sense went up, and I told him, and I told some of the guys that they kind of hung around with. I said, bro, that nigga's a rat. And nobody believed me. Man, the computer nerd, that nigga don't know nothing. Okay. I told niggas, he's an informant. He ain't doing it. He hasn't told on anybody or whatever, but you don't do that. You don't use nobody's name but see, again, this is the caliber of people that I chose to be around. You see? So anything that could have happened to me or anything that's going on or things I saw, I could not act surprised and I could not go to the law. Because that wasn't the world that's not what, So that dude that called me back, he's pleading and, because he knew he was bogus. He shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have said that to us. And so it just kind of gave me a wake-up call too. And, but that was earlier on, but we still kept doing what we was doing. And I was kind of like, bro, man, I'm going to shop with y'all and I'm going to shop. And I don't know, I might have seen that dude one more time because there was somebody on the bus one time that was acting real nervous. It looked like him. I might have seen him again or whatever, but I was just like, man, I said, look, bro, I don't know if I gave him the brother speech or whatever, but it's like, I said, man, bro, I said, the way you were talking, you had me feeling like you were trying to do something to us. You see what I'm saying? And now, like I told him, are we on the phone? We're talking. I said, now think about this for a second, bro. You've already said what you said. So now I could take it any kind of way I want to take it. You've already said what you were going to do. Well, no, man, I ain't gonna. I said, well, now you feel you apologizing because you bogus, you was wrong. But suppose we decided to just go ahead and say, okay, let's just do this. So I'm on the phone talking to this dude. We talking for about a good 3 minutes because at this point I'm like, that's not something I need. I didn't have no shame to say, well, I said, man, just look, man, when you see me and we see each other, just don't say anything. Because now, look, both parties go home. There's no foul or play or whatever. And I would have been right. I would have been right to go along and if think about it, if this would have been the dope game and he would have said something like that to me, I would have had all right to finish to go along with whatever we decided to do. Now I would have probably gotten in trouble for it, of course, because that's against the law. You can't get mad at somebody because when someone threatens you, you're supposed to go to the police. Let's be honest. When someone threatens you, you're supposed to go to the police as a tax-paying citizen. But we're not 9 to 5. I mean, we're not dealers, but we're hustling in the street. So that comes along with it. So you can't go to the police. You can't go to the police. That's what I thought. I thought you weren't supposed to go to the police if you're doing any kind of business that's what I believed. So when I see people saying, well, man, I'm just going to use his name on the license. No. And you're a member. You're a member. You affiliated. Where did they do that? I was disappointed. I couldn't believe it. I was thinking to myself, this nigga better not say nothing about me. No jokes, nothing. Don't say anything about me, bro. Nothing. You're a member, full blown. And you're using people's names to the police. Nobody believed me. Nobody believed the computer nerd. Man, this nigga, he can sell CDs. Ain't nobody, that nigga don't know nothing. He ain't street. Okay. You see? So, man, I think if my father would have been around a little longer, I probably wouldn't have been doing that. I probably would have been, you know what I probably would have been doing at the high school? I probably would have got my IT degree or my certification, and I would have never really touched any of that kind of stuff. Like I say, it wasn't something, I wasn't selling dope, but I'm saying it's the same fucking environment. Pardon my French. It's the same. The only difference is we're not touching stuff and we're not involved in the intricate details of stuff. We're not involved in it, but we're still among that kind of stuff. So I got to see it. I got to see a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't have been seeing. And I was a kid. You know? But that's my story. I almost got unalived over a CD. This dude threatened us over a CD. I don't think I ever told anybody this story. This nigga threatened me over a damn CD, bro. And then called back to plead his case. Man, they all work, man. Man, these they all work. They all play good. Dude, you just threatened me over a CD. What am I supposed to say? Man, I ain't, don't say nothing to me when you see me, bro. Don't say nothing. Don't say anything to me, bro. Don't let's just go our both ways. Because I'd rather you play your CD and never deal with you again, and then I just go on and just with my life. Because we don't need that. And my homie agreed the same thing. He said, man, shit, if they play, they play. Three black males could potentially had went to war over a CD. Look at the headline, how stupid that sounds. Think about it. Well, this guy got a weapons charge. The other one knocked the dude in the head with a, So it would have been the dumbest thing. It would have been embarrassing. It would have been embarrassing for me to tell my family, hey, he's in a Hennepin County jail over what? Well, he popped that nigga over a CD. You know how shameful that is? Dude's family probably wouldn't have said that about him because he was already a knucklehead. But for me, it's like, do you know how embarrassing that would have been on my family? Well, Derek's in jail. He's doing 10 to 15 because he shot some nigga over a CD. What? Been a damn embarrassment, man. I'm a little embarrassed telling the story, to be quite honest. You should be. You should kind of be. You should have a little bit of shame, like, oh, I didn't start it. But just the whole thing. I'm still involved, so it's embarrassing. It's even embarrassing me telling this story. It's kind of embarrassing. Because they're gonna say you were too smart. How did you get yourself in this situation? How? How did you even get around people like this? You see, those are the kind of questions your family's gonna ask you, and if you have no shame, you ain't gonna care. You see what I'm saying? So that's it. I'm gonna tell the next story, but that was another dark story. So I'll tell another one. I might tell something a little lighter, but we'll see. We'll see.